side. And honestly, I like the fact that we're seeing a lot more of Aphelios priority coming out here for a lot of LPL teams. Feels like that pick is just kind of coming back into the meta.
Yeah, most definitely. Aphelios coming back with just all the support champions fitting him perfectly. I believe Thresh also got a slight buff, but it is going to be the Lulu for this time around. We're looking at both drafts. I mean, Ultra Prime having that Annie first pick, also getting something like the Lee Sin. So it's going to be a lot of early game skirmishes where they just have the CC available, but they also have that late game insurance where you also have Xayah, Syndra, and Jax. But I think with that interview with Hope, he said specifically said that Doggo loves playing these late scaling champions, and that's going to be a huge point to look out for, as Ultra Prime is prioritizing the late game scaling. But on the other hand, we have something aggressive as Biubiu is on his iconic champion, the Renekton, something that he's very comfortable on. But as a response, they lock in something like the Ryze and the Aphelios that when it does come to range, I mean, I think the Aphelios outranges Xayah.
Have to agree. We'll see what they kind of go for right now as we're jumping onto the Rift. That's what I love about being in you know other venues, is that there is no waiting, there is no delays. Because if there is delays, we can always just catch up on our own. The magic of technology and fast forwarding as we jump straight onto the Rift for game 1 of this best of 3. And I think it was like a Jinx cat cosplay. Oh no, maybe it was Kitty Katarina. I think it might have been Kitty Katarina.
Maybe.
I'm unsure on my skin lines as such, but jumping straight in, we're gonna have ourselves a nice one. And I will say, if WE can get ahead with this composition, like the Renekton as well, like you're gonna have such a hard time as Ultra Prime to really kind of deal with it. So I imagine with Ultra Prime, it is about kind of surviving the early stages and making sure they do not fall too far behind or fall prey to this Renekton Maokai combination.
Yeah, most definitely, but you do have to remind ourselves that he is up against someone like Doggo, where Renekton and Maokai, they have to play extremely careful with how they space and how they engage, because once you go in, you can't really go out. So the Xayah pick, once again, seeing for the second series of the night, it did do extremely well in that first one, where she was picked as a counter, so I'm really wondering how pick order was. But Hope on something like the Aphelios, he is coming back into the meta because he's just such a versatile ADC, where he has the scaling and he also has the setup for these ganks. While paired with something like the Lulu, it doesn't matter because he has his Graviton and Heng can path towards his bottom side, although Renekton is going to need a bit of help in that top lane.
It's the cool thing about Xayah and Aphelios. They can both beat their own little bit of engages with their CC, Graviton ult, of course, the feathers flying and then coming back. It can be a fun one to see. As we wait to see now where the kind of like focus comes out from these junglers. We'll see Ning on the Lee Sin, something he's exceptionally comfortable on, but nothing too crazy to be kind of coming out with at the moment as we wait to see where they kind of move forward with this particular game. And for Ultra Prime, getting Hery around this kind of Renekton could be key. If you can have a Jax even, who's able... A Jax! I don't know why I went like Link from Breath of the Wild. It's like, yeah! Anyway, you know, if he can get him going and very much kind of able to be his own little threat in a side lane, it becomes very difficult for WE to contain that. So curious to see where we see both these junglers prioritize. It looks like a full clear is going to be coming out for both sides, not really wanting to kind of interact with each other for the moment, which does favor, in my opinion, Heng on this Maokai a little bit more.
Yeah, they do part away from each other as both junglers start the red buff, but like you've been saying, Heng on this Maokai pick definitely want to be scaling comfortably into those items, as Ning on this Lee Sin definitely looking for some of those early game skirmishes, as you do want to be that duelist. But pathing towards Hery, I mean, he potentially could look for a dive if Biubiu doesn't trade carefully, really see him being down. Bit of CS, although the wave is slowly building into the tower, but Heng already putting in some vision in this bottom side. If we do get Hope Hope ahead, he is looking like a very consistent carry once we do reach the late game.
Well, both junglers happy to take their scuttlebugs. I will say that full clear for the Ultra Prime jungler versus the almost full clear from the Maokai, as he's able to drop down some wards, get some vision, back himself away, and there's going to be nothing too crazy to be kind of happening with this one here. But now, looking at these two sides, you can obviously kind of it's going to be a little bit of a slower early game, I imagine, but looking at these two teams, these are two teams that are outside of the playoffs as of right now. Team WE 4 and 7, sitting at 12th, and Ultra Prime 3 and 8. But it's what makes this match a little bit more interesting. As ooh, I think Heng got all of those minions there, or almost all of them, so nicely there done for him. But that's why it makes this game a little bit more important, a little bit more potent, because if WE win, they broaden that gap between themselves and the likes of Ultra Prime versus Ultra Prime, who would be able to kind of really bring themselves forward, as we see a little bit of a move, flashback. Biubiu does get hit by the Sonic Wave, does end up getting the stun down onto Ning, who takes a huge chunk of damage himself. Has got a blue buff here on either jungler, but neither willing to kind of fully commit to what is happening right now. There's kind of covering both their top laners, and I will say, definitely feel like it is WE have come out the better of this particular trade, and don't want to fully commit just yet. You can see that Heng is holding that the CC very, very nicely, as we can see. Oh, speaking of CC, Baolan lands a 2-man, but they're going to force the cleanse out of both the AD carries. Hope moving forward, flash for flash. Oh, they want it to be their own engages, and that's going to be Doggo falling down. Baolan flashes away just to save his own hide, but we talked about how both these AD carries can be their own engages, and they tried to do just that.
Hope just knew, he predicted the flash from Doggo and perfectly dodges with his own flash, and that does mean a kill into the hands of the AD carry of WE. Players across all around the map. We did expect the two junglers to be parting towards that top lane, which won't happen here, but Baolan just lands a double stun with his W, as WE didn't really play with their strength, as they have the range. But Doggo getting a little bit too greedy, and Hope reacts perfectly with this shuriken as well, so Doggo falls as a response. I mean, Xayah, you can't be getting too behind. Hope is definitely someone that can snowball off just these tiny leads as First Blood goes into his pockets.
A lot of summoners blown. It's just like Lwandy left with his flash on that bot side, and WE, great start for them, getting this Aphelios ahead. And look, you are against two hyper-scaling AD carries. The Xayah and the Aphelios both do exceptionally well, but to get that extra early lead, it does mean at the moment it is a difference between Boots and a Doran's Blade, comparatively to the High Noon Quiver. As we can see, everyone's got a gathering around right now. I don't know if Ultra Prime want this. And a flash, but a flash is too late from Ning, and they're going to try and burn him down. They can't quite get Shanks to get the CC down. Moon Prison does not get comboed up, so it's only a slow onto Qing. But again, more and more summoners being blown as the LPL kind of faithful see a little bit of a bloodbath brewing. Both teams very willing and able to push forward and get some advantages, even if it costs them summoners.
I love this game already. Absolute chaos ensuing for the first 6 minutes, but we need to notice that Heng did go for the Hex Flash. No flash available for Qing.
He might be in a lot of trouble. He has no flash. He has nowhere to go. They want to donate this one over to the Shanks Ryze Fund, and they will do just that. So despite Ultra Prime gaining control over the river, a great roam there from Biubiu means that WE come out with another kill.
We do see the replay of what happened just now with the Dragon Brawl, as this stun lands onto the rest of the team of W, so no follow-up from Heng flash engaging, as even Shanks did commit the flash, but he just comboed a little bit too slow, where Ning got out by the slightest of timing. But in the end, this Dragon is going to go into the hands of WE, and once again, I need to highlight that Heng has this Hex Flash available, which is something that we don't see very often. So it's very surprising, as it does spicing up the game just a little bit.
Again, more and more pressure coming in. The carries of WE getting some nice kills here. Very well kind of set up for themselves into this mid-game, which is exactly where they want to be. Hery getting some nice trade back in this top side, as he's been able to have a little bit of free time. Not a huge amount, but you know, every little helps. There's Hope. You know what? I'm gonna put that in the
camera just shouldn't be put on the screen. Sometimes you just miss out on that.
I was gonna say I put that in the category of you miss all the shots you don't take, and unfortunately you sometimes really miss the shots you do take. So a bit unfortunate there for Hope, but it was by himself. So even just having the ultimate there in general to dissuade and all in was nicely set up for him there. Now Qing knows that there's a Maokai around, so should just be fine to back himself away. Lwandy shows himself on the wave as well, as both teams now starting to prioritize their setup and their vision around this this Baron Pit, which is housing the Rift Herald. So, bit of a late back from Hope. He will be late to this party and has no Moonlight Vigil. Remember, he didn't whiff it in that bot side. How could we forget? And now we wait to see where both these teams want to go.
Yeah, we need to also really remind the audience that Heng has successfully reached level 6 without dying once in his own jungle, so that is an overall massive dub for the side of WE. Now Herald is going to get threatened, but with the Maokai ultimate available, it is just so much CC. As Biubiu is going to rotate early, he is going to sack another wave just in case. They really want to secure this. Baolan has the flash available very soon, so W need to play very carefully with their positioning.
Yeah, no flash on Ning, so no flash kick to be had right now. There's the ultimate. Oh, it's perfect. It's catching on to everybody. Shanks will fall, but so does the Annie, as you can see there. Look at Hope. He's untouched. He's just burning through these health bars. Eventually, they turn them back around. The Unleashed power was good enough for one kill to trade back, but a 1-for-1, and the Rift Herald goes in favor of WE. And this is just kind of seeing similar signs that we've seen from WE. They get a lead and they are able to kind of keep pushing, keep gaining momentum, and keep putting down pressure on Ultra Prime.
And once you give that lead to Hope, they are going to snowball that tiny lead into something huge in the gold graphs. A 2-for-1 trade in the very end where this Maokai ultimate just put in so much work and Ultra Prime weren't able to kite around it and fell as a victim. With the flashes available, however, so it just wasn't really a fight that you wanted to take because you didn't have prior setup. That's something that's so good about Maokai, where once you do have the original control, well, you can't really walk in, as you also have the saplings to play around from the dot bush. We're going to see this replay once again. The stun does land from Shanks where he dies instantly, but not Zeri, but Ning jumps in as well and he gets focused down instantly, and he also doesn't die, but the Herald in the end still goes into the hands of WE. We're at the scoreline 5-1 now, and Doggo trying to scrap up some returning plates as Hope got 4.
I mean, the scary thing about that whole play is, like you mentioned, of course, the kill going over to Hope, but also not only that, but as we see maybe a bit of an engage. Lwandy's on the flank right now. This is the flanking Lulu is the dangerous one. Doggo will have flash available if he wants to use it, but he doesn't have it. Doesn't have to use it just yet. I was going to say the AD carries being their own initiation tools right now, as Hope is using that Gravitum to very good effect. It's twice now we've seen almost summoners burned here on this bot side because of Hope having great usage of that ultimate.
We did see the flanking Lulu trying her best, but unfortunately not enough, as Hope does get the bottom lane of Ultra Prime pretty low.
Here we go.
Heng is also going to continue by ulting here, but Ning is just here to block that ultimate and really diffuse this dive. Just in case, we do have the Realm of available from Shanks, so if this play and they want to continue it, could potentially be a 4v3.
Mayhaps. There's more plates gonna be in the call right now, and honestly this is great for WE because not only are you kind of forcing Ning to just kind of babysit this bot side, but he's also one, taking experience, and two, he's not affecting any of the other maps. We have a little bit of a replay here. I think it's actually just oh wait, this is the kill. Wait, when did that happen?
Ning
when
died?
did that kill happen? I did notice we came back to 1 and 5 rather than 1 and 4, but Biubiu was bot side and he got himself a kill. He's now 2-0 and 2.
Biubiu
I didn't
is
even
the
notice
jungler.
that.
He has 4 KP out of 5, and Hope picking up another play in this bottom lane. This Aphelios is getting ridiculously strong once he backs. I mean, the dragon is going to be spawning in 10 seconds. The Aphelios hasn't backed and reset just quite yet with the amount of gold he's collected, so Xayah is going to have that Gale Force advantage. So W need to remember this, as the ADC is lacking in terms of mythic items.
I mean, just such good control right now from WE. I'm loving the aggressive pathing we're seeing out from Biubiu as well. I'm loving the fact that he's going out saying, cool, I know where I need to go. I know where I need to be. I'm going to try. I'm not going to win against this Jack, so there's no real reason for me to try. I'm just going to try and make advantages elsewhere. And speaking of advantages elsewhere, that's the second Drake now coming over to WE because they have total control over this bot side. It is a 3,000 gold lead. A lot of that belongs to that top lane and mid lane combination between CS and kills. There's a fair chunk of gold now between these solo laners.
It is so scary to see an Aphelios and Ryze bottom side to be getting these dragons online early, because that's something you don't expect with the Annie and Lee Sin for this game 1 draft. You would expect this, but in the favor of Ultra Prime. So there are now 2 dragons down, also around that 3k gold lead. I mean, Qing is going to try and push in this wave, but he doesn't know Heng is behind him.
Oh, he does now. Now he knows the rest of the team are coming in. Qing may have to use his flash here to try and get over the wall.
Where
he does, and he has got a blast going. I don't know where he's going to go.
TP?
Far, far away. He does have a TP and should be able to keep himself up and alive. So does lose both his summoners, but gets himself out to safety. So important to note there that WE did make a move on the bot side. It meant that the dominance had to be popped in the top lane, but doesn't mean anyone goes down. And again, more and more pressure coming out. Great kind of usage of the fact that you have got Hope to be able to kind of push in this mid lane, make sure that doesn't take any more damage. And honestly, I think Shanks has got this bot lane no problem.
Yeah, the great thing about that play for the side of WE is that no one actually died on the other side. They didn't really lose too much, although hard forcing it with the Realm Orb and, of course, the roots from Maokai. Shanks also picks up this tier 1 bottom tier tower, which does open up the map a lot more and apply side lane pressure. This is exactly what we want from a Ryze, where you want to be proactive with the Realm Orb, making plays on the side lane. Definitely want to be cheating tempo, as Hope just safely scales in this middle lane with that cleanse available as well.
Oh. As the ultimate's coming out, just to do a little bit of damage there. Doggo will get CC'd up and takes another chunk of health onto him. Baolan with the extra bit of shielding to save him from a little bit of that fate. But again, great work here from WE. They're dictating where and when everything is happening. It's very much a response, you would imagine, from Ultra Prime, as they're being reactive. They're really trying to see if they can be a bit more... I would love to see them be a bit more aggressive, but it's hard against this composition. Very hard to run into things like a Maokai, a Ryze, a Renekton. They just have so many ways of dealing with you, and you just can't really risk that kind of, you know, all-in engage if you know it's not going to 100% work out for you.
Yeah, it really is tough, especially with the Annie support being locked in first for the side of Ultra Prime here on out, as we really just expect this Annie to be flashing off cooldown every time she does have the Tibbers available and get those picks one by one. However, this early game, very quiet performance from the bottom lane of Ultra Prime, trying to look for at least some vision as his Herald is spawning, but every ultimate online, cleanses are available, but Qing does not have his flash, so he has to be playing extra carefully.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing right now. We're going to see a TP that's going to go straight in onto the mid lane, or just above it, as we can see Biubiu finally joins in. Has got almost a full rage bar. Top lane goes down in favor of WE, as Ultra Prime are losing their advantages right now. There's going to be a good ultimate coming in. They're trying to burn down on the Baolan, and he goes down. Ning can't really find the engage. Doggo trying to put down the feathers, but he's still not quite got the damage. Remember, he's still only one item. Would love to be on that second one. The Navori Quick Blades just adds in so much power as Biubiu. Oh, we're going to see Hery trying to jump in on the backside here. Jumps on the Hope, but it's actually the Syndra who falls without a flash, without a Hope. And without a prayer, Lwandy is sacrificed as he gave his life to make sure that Hope could survive. Now Biubiu and Heng, Shanks just kind of being corralled away. The health bars are definitely in favor of Ultra Prime right now. And with Baolan coming in as well, you can see the wave clear is fantastic from Shanks, even this late in the game. Biubiu moves forward, as you can see Hery trying to see if he can make something work. But look at the damage! Shanks almost takes him out. Never mind, he does take him out. And now they're going to try to see Heng moving forward. Nearly gets the kill, but ends up paying for it with his life. Doggo stays alive with an extra little bit of shielding from the Annie. It ends up being a very scrappy affair, but all in all, it is WE who are still coming out on top.
That was a 1-minute fight, Oisin. Baolan got instantly killed from the Maokai ultimate, just suffocating the side of Ultra Prime. He walked back and the fight was still happening in the mid lane, where Hope realized that this fight was not stopping, so he had to rejoin. But Hery desperately trying to get his hands on some extra kills, but he just wasn't able, as Heng defused that immediately. This Maokai ultimate is just so oppressive when it comes to these major objective fights, as everyone was just dying in the chokes, where even the Graviton was used as Baolan flashes as defensively and dies, but you're just so squishy as that Annie support. Hery also finding really good stun angles onto the backline of WE, but this was just a trade onto the Lulu, while your Syndra died without that flash available from early on. And in the end, it's still WE having that Herald, having all these kills online, and Hope still staying deathless.
We come back, 10 seconds till the Dragon, so we're going to have another fight. But this time around, look at all those summoners. Everyone except for Qing has not got a flash. The only reason Qing has his because he lost it beforehand. So didn't have it to use effectively as we come back into live. And now could see another engagement coming in. You haven't got everything stacked up here onto Shanks. He's still waiting for his Seraphs. He's still waiting for his fully set up Rod of Ages. So not in the most ideal of positions in terms of the potential he could have. But nevertheless, both teams start to push their way forward into this river. And I feel like for Ultra Prime, you need this Dragon. You need to stop the Hex Tech Soul point from going over, because the next fight, I don't think you can.
But Hope's weapon is so good. The green and white, so if he's able to really kite out the side of Ultra Prime.
Oh, Hery.
Hery trying to look for a flank onto Shanks.
Yeah, they're looking for a flank on the Shanks, but Biubiu actually gets knocked up by the dragon. He popped his dominus, which meant he couldn't do anything, but Ning has been caught, and Shanks is dealing with 4 members of Ultra Prime. He's just pushing them away, saying, you cannot kill me. There's just no way you can get that kind of value without Ning as well. This is guaranteed to be sole point now for the side of WE, and that was so weirdly chaotic. It was a comedy of errors, but it's still WE who come out on top.
4,300 damage dealt by this Ryze in the matter of seconds. This is quite literally the first time I've ever seen a Ryze pick being utilized so perfectly, as he is tossing out that damage with only 2 items. Nothing offensive, only defensive. But in the hands of Shanks, it just looks like a completely different champion, and they're just suffocating the side of Ultra Prime as they're desperately trying to get their hands onto this lonely Ryze that was running by himself. But without the amount of damage, and just look at Shanks playing Ultra Prime into his own hands. He doesn't also die with the Sarah's shield coming in as well. Just not enough damage from Doggo. And this 3rd dragon in the hands of WE with a scaling composition. Ultra Prime definitely feeling the pressure now.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Shanks extraordinarily fortunate. I believe his Seraphs upgraded as he was hitting the last combination or 2. So it was still stacking until that dragon fight. So yeah, absolutely 100% calculated. But you know, that is how the cookie crumbles. You got to be very aware, because again, that's not a hidden stat. That's not a timer that you have to time. You can see the stacks yourself on the scoreboard. So Ultra Prime calculating it, but miscalculating which values they needed. And now WE with 3 dragons, 5,000 gold in the lead. They are starting to smell victory in their sights. And look, they need this as well. They don't only do they need the W, but being on the kind of 9th to 12th scale of the playoffs kind of standings, they need game wins. They need to make sure they're not just dropping to a single, 2-1s or anything like that. And anytime they do lose, they need to make sure it's a 1-2, because they're sitting at -7 right now in the standings. So they are still very much going to be forcing themselves to try and catch up with the likes of Billy, RNG, on the +1s and -3s of the kind of composition, because even if it comes down to the later stages in the tournament, in the later stage of the split, those game differences can make the difference.
Yeah, Ultra Prime on a 6-game loss streak where they haven't found a single series win just quite yet. They do have some of the messiest games when we do approach the LPL games, as they just struggle to clean out the later stages. And it's all up to Doggo, honestly. Once Doggo is given something that is a hyper carry that is going to scale, Shanks gonna get interrupted here.
Yeah, but Ning... Oh no!
Lwandy, buddy.
I thought maybe Heng was able to get the flash over the wall. They could have, gotten the twisted advance off, but wasn't to be, and that means that Ning ends up keeping his flash, and his life also stops the Realm War from happening up towards that top side. And now, the amount of pressure they've put in towards that top lane, mid lane is under siege. They don't know if they're going to be able to fully confirm it just yet. Should see a Maokai ultimate to really stop anybody from gaining anything else from this, but a TP on the back end of this fight. There's going to be the ultimate there. It only lands onto Ning, who does not have his kick just yet. He's still waiting for it. Ning is so low, but a flash forward. They're going to catch Baolan and immediately jump onto Doggo, who has to flash away. Straight off the bat, it is only 1 kill, but look at the summoners that had to be burned. Great heads-up play there from WE.
This is so scary. You're just walking with the dark alleyway and you turn the corner and you see Biubiu just lurking with that TP flank play. Now it's going to be the Baron into the hands of WE. Just very successful skirmishes, as they always get 1 pick. Baolan on this Annie just not working out very well, as you have to be the proactive players. You have to be the aggressors. But if you play into the hands of WE, I mean, this is the game state now.
This is the game state, and it's not a pretty one if you're an Ultra Prime fan. Oh, look at this one there, because again, they look to try and get the turret. You're never going to get that in a million years, and I just don't see the reason why you want to try and go for this. You haven't cleared out your jungle, and yeah, great flank.
Ning was just 1 HP, and Biubiu just shreds everyone in the backside of Ultra Prime. Definitely very tough game state, as no one does damage to these frontliners of WE, and Heng having an excellent game on the Maokai, definitely getting stuff done on the map. Also dragon spawning in 40 seconds, no ultimate, no flash from Doggo, definitely going to be very tough. Baolan also not having those summoners means he has to play a little bit defensive.
I mean, no anything for Doggo. Even the Gale Force still on cooldown. He might just have it back up by the time this dragon starts, but Stopwatch picked up here by Qing means that he knows that this next fight could be the final and most decisive. If you give over a Hex Soul this early, 24 minutes into the game, I just don't see how you can come back from that. Shanks already building up towards his third item in this game. You have got the Void Staff, so again, Qing has got significant damage if he can land it on the right target. It has to be on the hope, but when you've got something like a Lulu to hand, it just becomes so much more difficult to make that damage stick.
Yeah, most definitely. Also with the cleanse available for Hope, it's definitely going to be very tough, as Hery has had an excellent game so far, no deaths, but when you are put in a situation where it is going to be the Hex Soul being pressured by WTP from Hery.
Biubiu though on a flank. They don't want the dragon, they want the fight. They know they want the fight, and they've caught everyone like spiders waiting for flies to walk into their web. They have pounced straight away, and it's just a massacre right now. Shanks cleans up the AD carry. Hery trying to run away as best he can, but you shall not escape. You shall be beaten down by the tree, and that is a full, clean ace for WE and the Hex Soul.
A 5-for-0 trade and the Hextech Soul in the hands of WE. Now Shanks level 15. Hope also 2 items up. Oh, not 2, but 1. This map state, I mean, they're just gonna pressure the towers of Ultra Prime. That was their last chance to find a successful fight, as Hery was the last standing hero, but even he fell as a result. And this game, 3-15, 10k gold lead. I don't know what Ultra Prime can do to come back, but all of the replay is just Biubiu finding these beautiful flanks onto the enemy team, or even Shanks joins in for the party, but all these AoE damage from the side of WE just meant no one on Ultra Prime could really tank anything, as everyone just instantly got so low, and there's just no hope as you are 2 behind in items now.
I mean, it's just so difficult now for Ultra Prime. I don't see this game lasting much longer. They may not lose on this push, but against the Hex Soul, Baron is just going to wear off now in 5 seconds as he gets 4,500 gold off of this Baron power play. As Heng, he wants to end the game now. He gets kicked back. Nice little sidesteps there for my Lwandy and Shanks, but 3 items now onto the Ryze. He is firmly in control of where he is and what he can do. Very difficult. Look at his health bar. He has more health than the Renekton right now. He is just so tanky just to be able to stand in front of people and just put out insane amounts of DPS. We
love Roa meta, but despite that, Hery's still trying to apply some side lane pressure when it is looking a little bit tough, as you don't win the 5v5, so it's your last standing hope. The TP not available for the Jax either, so Ultra Prime really need to play carefully as they allow Hery to scale into these side lanes. I mean, I think Ultra Prime, they were just way too overstepped in some of those situations, not allowing Hery to have a free side as they played into the hands of WE, and that really resulted in all this gold lead from the early game.
Look, you're going to need more than a Hail Mary or 2 to bring this one back for yourselves as Ultra Prime. But Ning, he's looking for it right now. Puts himself long down field, but without a flash available, there's going to be it. They're going to catch out onto the AD carry, and Hope is dead. There is going to be Shanks TPing in immediately, already putting down serious work on the Baolan, and there's 2 kills. Look, I'm saying that miracles aren't a common thing, but sometimes they can happen, and Ultra Prime find themselves 2 very swift kills. I feel like they didn't need to TP Shanks in there at all.
Yeah, Shanks definitely instant regret button after he TP'd in, even tried ulting out, just trying to undo the actions that he's just... Oh, Baolan died to a W. I mean, Lulu Q.
Oh,
definitely.
And the tower, yeah.
The tower,
and that's a change of the setup. Now Biubiu with the dominance, trying to see if he can catch. There's 2 people caught, though. And immediately Qing has to use that stopwatch, not able to get himself away as Biubiu starts to tear through everybody else. Doggo, you have nowhere to go. You've got flash, but is it really worth it? He says no. Double kill goes over to Biubiu, and what could have been a nice little opportunity for Ultra Prime to scale out the game, maybe even look for something with the, with the scaling Jax, is just completely shut down.
They got so desperate after a winning fight for the side of Ultra Prime, where they forgot that Biubiu wasn't matching the Jax in the side, as was in fact trying to force something in the middle play, and that is going to end up as a 3-for-0, as Baolan did get executed by the tower earlier. but that does also mean the Baron spawning in 20 seconds. This inhibitor falls, you most likely have to be just clearing out the minions and looking for that mid priority. But Hery still trying his little heart out to get to that level 16. He is already level 16 now. Hopefully we get some bonks in soon.
I mean, he needs a third item. You can see him got a Hearthstone. He's got the makings of what I imagine is a frozen heart. He's trying his hardest right now to make sure he can do it. I will say you are 3 items now on the Qing, so despite losing the stopwatch in the last one, has his Zhonya's to fully replenish it, and 3.5 items onto the Xayah. So there is a world in which the Ultra Prime team fight can come together, but you are very much relying on Baolan with a Flash Tibbers onto multi-man WE. That's what you need right now, and it's so difficult. We talked about how WE's draft just lends itself for kiting backwards. The Lulu, the Maokai, the Ryze, so many ways of just kind of pushing it back as Ning loses about half his HP from a Q combo
Biubiu
of hope.
again.
Biubiu is looking for a flank, hasn't been spotted out just yet, and is just going to go back down towards the bot side. And despite Hery kind of having the side lane pressure and definitely in the advantage in that regard, 5-0-6 in this Renekton makes him so much scarier now. Baron has been started. It looks like they're going to try and burn this one down, and burn it down they will. They're looking to see if they can get anything. No real vision right now. Now they know what's been going on, but Shanks is on a flank. Shanks does have flash. He may look to try and flash into someone else. TP for TP. They're trying to get it away now, as everyone kind of joins in. Again, look at the poke coming out from this Hex Soul. It's just giving so much more value to the side of WE, and they've got the inside track. You can see Ultra Prime, they're unsure as to what they want to do. Heng has to flash away just in case he maybe got caught out there, but you may lose the game. They have to use the Hex Straits, but they can't because they just got stopped by a Sapling. Now they can jump straight onto Doggo, who was the only one to get it. Now the rest of his team is trying to jump in onto this. Shanks gets himself over the wall and he kills off the AD carry. It's all over the place right now, Kitty. It's completely separated. It's completely and utterly done for the side of Ultra Prime. You don't have your AD carry. You don't have a chance in hell, and it's another clean ace as WE's pressure just proves too much.
A 4v5 while Hope gets the middle inhibitor as the fight collapses for the side of Ultra Prime, desperately trying to find an angle for at least a pick, but WE knew this exactly, and they are going to just play Ultra Prime and end this game 1 into their favor. An excellent early game as they never dropped a single misplay other than, you know, Shanks doing the undo button from that round 1.
We'll allow one. Everyone gets one. But yeah, great control here from WE. And this is a kind of a team that kind of a similar mindset to me as OMG earlier, is that they are a team that has kept the majority of the rosters most of the time. This particular year, they obviously made quite a few changes coming into this to this split. But you're looking at Shanks, you're looking at Biubiu. This team is kind of coming together and trying to make sure the best they can. And even like the likes of Hope and Lwandy, they are 2 players that we have seen on, like, you know, much higher up rosters in previous splits. So hot one day, cold the next. Today looks like they're running hot and they are looking fantastic. Ultra Prime were never given an opportunity. Ultra Prime just never had an opportunity to do anything.
We flipped the coin, and today we're on heads for WE, especially for the solo laners of Biubiu and Shanks. I think they had an excellent early game, especially with Biubiu consistently getting pressured by Hery's Jax. It didn't matter because he was the roaming top laner coming into this game 1. He found ways and found kills to get his advantage back into his own hands. I mean, even Hope, he did play extremely well in those team fights, but Shanks, his Ryze was just on another level. An unkillable Demon King tossing out so much damage. I'm so interested in just seeing the damage graphs coming into this game 1 because I think he topped it.
I mean, he had to, right? There's no way you can do that much zoning control versus 4 people and not come out with the most damage in the team. We'll have to wait and see, though. I will say that the Hope was able to do a fair bit on his own as well, so plenty to kind of look into that. But again, this is a WE that does feel like when it's on their day, they can just play the way they need to play. There was a couple of small mistakes, sure, but I think that was more them kind of saying, look, we're miles ahead, that doesn't really matter. And yeah, there's your Shanks grass. I will say he only just wins the most, actually just loses the most damage. It was Biubiu. Yeah, Biubiu on the flanks was able to get more down.
Biubiu doesn't care. He's just flashing in and Wing everyone, and he is getting so much AoE damage down. But just the overall damage graph for the side of WE, way too much for Ultra Prime to handle, especially when you are looking to get your champions into the late game. I mean, you are just bleeding out as Doggo made that crucial mistake in the 2v2, setting him slightly behind and also burning a lot of those summoners. But back onto this Annie, I think it just wasn't proactive enough. Annie is very broken for a reason, and that's because you have a guaranteed engage pretty much every 5 minutes, maybe even 4 minutes 30 due to haste. But we just didn't see that from Baolan, and it's something that they should go back into the drafting boards and really consider for this game too.
Yeah, it just feel like Ultra Prime were always playing reactively. They weren't really in a position to force the issue or get themselves kind of flash in on top of Hope, or and again, I just feel like the draft, you built yourself a team that wants to try and jump in, as we do get Biubiu as our player of the game, MVP for game number 1. Honestly, totally deserved. His flanks and his just random roams out of top lane, kind of just admitting, yeah, look, I'm gonna fall down to the Jax. There's no real reason for me to go even. I need to find advantages elsewhere, and it worked beautifully for him and his team.
Got a kill onto Qing, he got a kill onto Ning. In the bottom river, might I add. He was just everywhere. Yep. He was living in the waters of Ultra Prime, and he definitely deserved that MVP, as he did also top damage charts